Hello, everybody, and welcome to NJILOA Meeting number 1 for the 2021 season. I'm State Rules Interpreter Keith Glock. I am joined by our Director of Technology, Dave Duban. Dave, thanks for doing this with me because I know we had a little bit of a snafu recording the original meeting, so this is kind of our re-recording of meeting number 1, and you're going to keep me on task with remembering to answer all the questions that we had from our original webinar, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And the first question that's going to come from the audience is, have we successfully put our dogs in places where they won't bark and preoccupy us?
Although no, the answer to that question is no. At any point, the dog could run down here and take control of things. So we'll see what happens. So first, just to kind of go quickly through what Jack Lally had said, next week, meaning the week of... first week of April, right after Easter, so April 5th, I believe that is, Monday, April 5th, that will be the release of the first batch of regular season games from the Arbiter. Please go, or from ZebraWeb. Please make sure that your availability is up to date. I think that goes without saying. First thing we wanted to give you, here's our plan, the overview. We're going to talk a little bit about restarts, some areas to slow down the restart. I'm going to play a video from last year. Going to give you another example of a good video with a delay of game example. Then we're going to go through our frequently missed test questions, and then we'll go through the questions that everybody asked on the webinar. So without further ado, I'm going to bring to you this video that we played from last year that will talk about restarts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first of the 2020 NJILOA in-season videos. You saw mentioned in the preseason rules interpretation video a couple of mentions about quick restarts where coaches and players may be asking for a quick restart, and there's some situations where we will want to slow things down as officials. Obviously, this video is intended for both coaches and officials, so to the extent that this helps out either of those parties, we're very happy to do that. First clip we're going to take a look at here is from a collegiate game played earlier this season, Colgate and Syracuse. And as we watch the play roll forward here, we have Syracuse chasing the ball towards the sideline, and the ball ends up going out of bounds off of the team in white. And you can see the team in red is ready for a restart, and the official is slowing them down and not giving them what they want in that situation because there was a red player who came out of the box. And that is pretty much a typical restart that you can expect to see this season after the ball goes out of bounds in the substitution area. The second play that we want to take a look at is a violation on a face-off, and as you can see here, the player in red is going to be awarded the ball after a pre-whistle movement from the player in white, and the player in red does not let the official get the words out of his mouth before he takes off running, and you can see the official signaling for him to come back, and then he will get his restart. So those are two pretty good examples of how we would like it to be officiated on plays that go out of bounds in the substitution area, and also a restart after a face-off violation. We'll be back with many more, hopefully this season, to provide some clarification on any rules that we find either troublesome or important as the season goes on, and thank you for watching. So that was our first of our regular season meeting videos from last year, which certainly apply to 2021. And now we want to show you an example of the new delay of game rule. This is just something that we had captured from a collegiate game this year. I'll narrate over it as we go. So what you're going to see here is first the player is going to take a shot, goalie's going to make a save, and he will outlet it over to the right. It is going to be mishandled by the long pole, who then commits a loose ball push there. As you see, there's a restart from the official. The defender in blue never allows a 5-yard buffer before actively engaging the offender, and that is what resulted in the flag. So again, we'll take another look at it here before I bring Dave back in for his thoughts on all this. You see the loose ball push there. You watch the official make the signal, give the restart, and you'll see certainly no 5 yards of separation. So that will kind of take us to where we want to be. So, Mr. Dubin, I ask you as your video comes back here, your thoughts just on the delay of game, especially as it relates to that example there. Any pointers for officials?
Yeah, so when we saw this rule change come through, it certainly changed how we always officiated the plays, right? And we would make sure everybody had a good 5 yards, make sure there's plenty of space. And this is going to be different for a lot of officials as we start to go through this. And so there's a few things and even questions that came out the other night that would be great if we could step through. One of them, Keith, as we look back at this play, we can see the official was ready, the player was ready, the field was set. The defender wasn't ready. Is it the defender's job to get out of the way there and let the offensive player have that clear path to the goal? Or do we have to wait and give him a chance to get those 5 yards?
The whole point of the new rule is to allow the quick restart because the offensive player is entitled to that advantage. The onus is very much on the defensive player to yield that 5 yards. So the moment that he knows that the other team is getting the ball, he needs to drop the ball and create that 5 yard buffer. If he does not create that 5 yard buffer and then actively engages the player with the ball, it's a flag for delay of game. Okay,
so you said actively engage, Keith, right? So
yes.
So I don't know if you can bring that up, the clip up one more time and replay it.
Sure can. Give me 1 second here. Go ahead.
But the big thing I saw as I watched this replay, right? So you see the goalie's going to make his save. The player's going to get that ball. He's going to get that push from behind. So I see that it was nice of that player to drop the ball right there, but he was running right with him. I didn't even see that defender give up an inch. So when you talk about active engagement, is that what you're looking for? That defender didn't even hold back for a second. He just played him as if the play never ended.
Correct. I mean, I define active engagement as the minute that the player, guards him, touches, makes contact with him there without creating that 5 yards of separation. So as soon as that contact is initiated, I think, and you know what, honestly, I think the term active engagement is vague enough for a reason that, it allows the officials some discretion. If you feel, whatever you're defining active engagement as when you're officiating the game, if there is no 5 yard buffer that's ever been created after that restart, throw the flag, call delay game, for sure. And I can also tell you that in this particular play, as it related to when you had said it was nice of the defender to drop the ball there, the official in this play was telling the player in blue, drop it there, drop it there, drop it there. It's loose and a push, and it's going to be white ball. So the official instructed the player in blue to drop the ball there. So that's another little dead ball trick that you can use. So that brings us to our test questions. And Dave, let's jump right into this one if we can. There's only 5 questions that I want to go over on the test that we missed. Almost 15% of the membership missed this one. It is in reference to the same rule we've been talking about. A1 steps aside to allow B1 a path to the goal, and purposefully B1 veers into him. We just made mention to this referencing the new delay of game rule. What type of contact is this question asking about? Dave, when you read this question, what type of contact do you believe that we're talking about here? Are we talking like very forceful contact, something that might be construed as unsportsmanlike, or just casual contact?
So I read it as casual contact initially, and basically I see the defender stepping aside, and I see an offensive player who thinks he's got an opportunity to go man up. So I see this as the defender taking a step, 2 or 3 steps to the side, and the attackman bumping into him to try to get that delay of game there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I read this question as the defender maybe realizing that he can't get 5 yards away, so he's going to step to the side and allow the player a clear path to the goal so that the offensive player can create that 5 yards of separation for him as he runs to the goal, and the offensive player trying to take a piece of him. Could B1 do something that would result in a personal foul? I would say that you have to apply the rules of normal lacrosse. If there's a horrendously egregious piece of contact initiated by the offense, meaning like a spearing penalty, which is a very violent use of the crown of the helmet type play, that is what would be a personal foul. But there's no special rules surrounding the type of contact that we would need here to have a personal foul on the offensive player. So the correct answer to this is letter B, because there is no violation on A1 as he steps aside.
Yeah, I think Keith, one other thing to call out there where I see, especially with the delay game, to be mindful of,
sure,
is it's also very important to see where his teammates are at on the field. So if you have that loose ball push and you have two players wearing a blue jersey next to each other, that's not a great restart. It's not necessarily a delay of game, but don't allow them to have deception on a restart and cause confusion on the field. So
correct.
That's one other thing I think we've seen quite a bit, where we see two players on the same team standing next to each other, and nobody knows who has the ball.
And if you do that, I mean, in your desire to have the restart done quickly, and then you realize a moment after you restart the ball that you're like, oh, crap, there was two guys standing there right next to each other, stop it. Stop the play, identify the ball for the goalie. The last thing you want to have happen is the goalie not know who has the ball, and then the team ends up kind of with a de facto hidden ball trick, and they get a cheap goal out of it. The coach will not let you forget that, probably for the rest of your life. I don't even know that I'm exaggerating on that one. Let's look at our next example. Almost a quarter of the membership missed this one. No need for a long discussion on this one. This is a bad question. It was one that David and I changed at the last second, and we could have done a much better job wording the question. The question should have read, which of the following actions could result in a penalty time of 2 minutes non-releasable? As you read through the answer choices, answer choice A is the only one with an allowable penalty time of 2 minutes, because it describes the foul for illegal follow-through, which is a good check that starts in the chest and ends up in the head. Letters B and C describe a targeting foul, which, as we know, is a 3-minute non-releasable foul or an ejection. And answer choice D just would result in a 30-second technical foul. Okay, so let's move on to our next question here. A1 has possession and being played by B1. B1 uses the portion of the cross that's between his hands to contact A1's torso. Which of the following should result in a call for holding? The purpose of this question is so that we are defining the difference between a cross-check hold, which is a very rarely called foul, which it should be rarely called, by the way. We are not under-calling this foul. It's the difference between that and a cross-check. Answer choice C is the description of a cross-check. We have a thrusting motion by the defensive player. The rest of this question was really kind of written to reflect the rule book, which now rightfully reflects how we actually officiate this play. We know that players at times, when they're playing on-ball defense, they use the handle of the cross to push a player away. And a lot of the times that shifts as players run. A lot of the time the top hand is on the player, and then all of a sudden there's a little bit of the handle of the cross, and then the bottom hand as the player is playing on-ball defense. As long as that player's hands are shoulder width apart, we don't have a problem. If the player's one hand is all the way up at the throat and the other hand is all the way down at the butt end, and he is only using the cross handle in the middle to direct that player, even with equal pressure, that should result in a hold. It should also probably look pretty weird, wouldn't you say, Dave? I mean, like, that's something you feel like you can decipher and see that the player's hands are really far apart.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw it was when I was playing 10 years ago. So that's how long ago it's been and how awkward it is to see that play happen.
Yeah, I would agree. So again, answer choice A is the correct one there. Only 11% of the membership missed it, but shows you just how well we did on this test. Okay, this is a question that was missed more often than any other question on the test. It's a very complicated question. So the key to answering this question correctly is to walk through it chronologically. So let's do that. During the play, B1 slashes A1. So we have a flag down for a foul against B. Now we have a whistle. Okay, the ball is now out of bounds. We are now in a dead ball situation. Okay, so we know in the rules of dead ball officiating, we now care about the order that things happen. The order that things happen are going to determine not only who has the ball, but where it restarts and all of that good stuff. So, Dave, I'm going to bring you into this and just kind of ask you some theoretical questions about types of fouls, and I think that's going to help us answer this question.
Yep.
So right now you have a foul on B1. B is going to the penalty box, and A is going to have the ball. Let's say it's a free clear. So B's in the box for a minute. A's got the ball. So, Dave, if you are on Team A, and a technical foul is committed by you or one of your teammates, what happens to the possession of the ball?
We are losing that ball. It's going to turn over to the other team.
Okay, so that is the first thing that happens in this question. We were going to have a man up for a minute, but during the dead ball time, there's a conduct foul. So now, simply, A just loses possession of the ball. A loses possession of the ball. B now, even though they're man down, gains possession of the ball. So now B has possession of the ball. So Dave, if you are on Team A, and there's obviously the other team has possession now, yep, and you or somebody on your team commits a technical foul, what happens?
We will be assessed a penalty. A flag will come out.
A flag down comes out now, and now we have a penalty on Team A. So now we have, just to recap, B was going to the box and A was getting the ball. A conduct foul gets committed. Now A simply loses possession. Another conduct foul happens. Now we have a flag down. A's going for 30. B's going for a minute. Because these are simultaneous fouls, Dave, what do we know about the releasable or non-releasable nature of this penalty?
Since there is 30 seconds of common time, they will in fact be non-releasable.
Okay, first 30 seconds is non-releasable. The answer choice that is correct here is letter A. Okay. All right, so last question that I wanted to go over. If you look in the book, as we look at the rule reference that I had put in here, Rule 763D, okay? The rule book uses the word simultaneous 28 different times, and the use of the word simultaneous as it relates to simultaneous fouls, the way the rule book defines it, doesn't help anybody. For some reason, the rule book wants to keep telling us whether something is or is not simultaneous fouls. Okay? And the problem with that is if we take the literal definition of simultaneous fouls from the book, saying that something is or isn't simultaneous fouls does not carry with it a specific protocol that we as officials will then use. It's essentially meaningless. I am going to be on a crusade from now until I stop officiating to redefine practically for everybody what simultaneous fouls are. We're going to do an entire meeting this season on simultaneous fouls. Here is what I want everybody to have in their head because I think it accurately reflects how we apply the notion of simultaneous fouls in a lacrosse game. If you have fouls on both teams and their fouls are going to begin to be served at the same time, that is simultaneous fouls. Okay? So now why do I tell you all that? Because as we scroll back up here and we look at the answer choices, this is 763D as the rule book defines it. Answer choice A is different than what's written in the rule book. In the rule book, it actually says this is simultaneous fouls. Okay? I don't agree practically that helps us. Okay? I would like us to define in our brains that this is not simultaneous fouls. All this is a flag down against the defense and then a technical foul which stops the play. There is no time-serving foul at all on Team A. The technical foul with possession simply stops the play, and we assess the penalty. Okay. I promise that during our regular season meeting, I'm going to get into what a good process should look like for figuring out simultaneous fouls. Because, Dave, one thing that we know about simultaneous fouls as it relates to coaches' knowledge and officials' knowledge of simultaneous fouls is what? Nobody knows.
Nobody really knows, and the best way to explain it is to always start by saying, by rule.
That's
and then
correct.
Insert the answer. One thing to call out here on 45, Keith, and let me just flip the situation. I know we'll have more time. So let's say we have A2 who is playing defense, has a loose ball push.
Okay.
We have a play on. A2 who has pushed B1. B1's teammate then comes up and slashes A2.
Okay.
Would that be simultaneous fouls?
Yes. You have created one of the rarer situations in the rule book. But yes, so the play on against Team A play on like a flag down denotes possession to a team. Because if you didn't play it on, you would just blow the whistle and give the ball to Team B in that situation. Okay? So your hand is in the air for a play on, which means Team B is entitled to possession. And during this play on, we now have a slash by Team B. So this play on, as my hand is in the air here, whoever pushed to create the play on, this is now going to become a time-serving penalty. Okay, because we have a personal foul on Team B, we have a technical foul for this play on push. Those guys are both going to go to the box. The player who's going to go serve for the push for 30 seconds, that first 30 seconds of common time is going to be non-releasable. And per the rules of simultaneous fouls, because they're both live ball situations, Team B is going to have more penalty time. So Team A is going to actually get the ball. So yes, you have created simultaneous fouls there because there's going to be a foul on each team where they're both going to start serving that penalty at the same time.
And so why I asked the question is because I almost went to grab a pen and paper to try to write that down, to try to logically write through this. And I actually wanted to do, as part of this, we did set up a forum on our site. So if you are seeing these crazy scenarios come up during your game, you're not the only one. I think on average, south of Mercer County, we have 3 or 4 of these a game. So go to the forum, submit the question, bring those in, because we'd love to cover them as part of it. And that even goes to future meeting content. If you have something really good you want us to cover, send it in. We're happy to try to accommodate that and put it into the meeting agendas.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go through, Dave, if you can. I think we answered, kind of as we went, a bunch of the questions. There was another question that was asked during the meeting. Can I please go through the crease rules? Because I think there are some folks that are watching games on television in the early part of the season, and they're getting a little bit confused about what you can or can't do in high school around the crease. And if you are one of those folks who's been watching television and getting confused with the crease play, I want you to forget everything you're watching on television, because the high school crease rules have not changed. You cannot jump, you cannot dive, you cannot leave your feet of your own volition. The rule says you must be grounded before, during, and after you shoot the ball, and the ball has to enter the goal before any part of you lands in the crease. If you are grounded before, during, and after the shot. If you leave your feet of your own volition and you land in the crease, it doesn't matter why you land in the crease, either because you went in there on your own or because you dove and you were not going to land in the crease, but somebody fouls you and you end up landing in the crease. That is still no goal. You cannot leave your feet of your own volition and land in the crease, even after the ball is in the goal.
Phone number for this contact.
Oh, sorry, my watch was getting a little squirrely there. And even after the ball is in the goal, and have a goal. Okay? It is an illegal play. Dave, any other questions that we didn't get to from the other night?
We had some questions about, we're about to start the season. We want to review the face-off mechanic for the COVID-19 protocols. Is there a way we can watch that again and refresh ourselves?
I will allow you to handle that since there is a video that I created. I just want you to tell everybody where it was posted.
Yeah, so this video, as well as the other videos that we're going to show during the year, will be available on the website, as well as the new NJSIA sportsmanship statement. So look for that. We're really going to continue to push out content on the site. So we recommend checking, even daily for the forum, different videos, just different. I hate to use the word thought leadership when it comes to Keith, but different information Keith wants to disseminate to the broader group.
And our website address is what?
It is still NJILOA.org.
Fascinating. Anything else?
Those were the majority of the questions. We're going to put up the test results. It does close today, April the 1st. So it's either today or it could be tomorrow or in the past, depending on when you're watching this. We'll put that up there. Otherwise, send in your questions, send in any videos you run into. And we're happy to try to take care of that as part of a future meeting.
Absolutely. Our next meeting is the opening day of the regular season, Monday, April 19th. A meeting agenda will be forthcoming for that one. Want to thank you for taking the time to watch NJILOA regular season meeting number 1, and we look forward to getting back out on the field for the first time in a better part of a year. Dave, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Keith.